Welcome to another episode of Sawdust Nation Podcast, episode 44. With us today, we have Crafted and NJ. AJ, what's up?
Yo, yo.
We have MPG Creations sliding in.
Hey, hey.
Nick for the win. And myself, Josh, for North Country Woodworking. You can't make me laugh when I'm trying to say my own name. Anyway, let's hear from those sponsors.
We're on 44 already? Wow.
Yes, sir. We only have 6 more until that huge giveaway.
Ladies and gentlemen, he did not use his fingers for that.
Well, I didn't use my fingers for 44?
No, me to count to 6.
Well, anyway, we want to thank Orca Abrasives sponsoring us, and we also would love to give a great big shout out to Totalboat. Thank you so much for all your support. And lastly, but not leastly, I want to thank Jtechphotonics for making this episode possible. Before we go ahead and get started, I want to go ahead and double tap on that issue we just talked about, the 50th episode. What date's that going to be, guys?
Ooh, if I remember correctly, I'm going to say June 2nd.
It should be about June 2nd-ish. We should probably
We're
have
about
this
the
ready.
ish.
Yeah, anyway, but you don't want to miss it. We're going to have a live event. We're going to have a ton of giveaway stuff. So
June 8th.
June 8th is the correct date. The world wants to know, AJ, what's going on in your shop?
Well, I mean, you would think that I have flags going on, and you'd be correct. But, you know, this weekend, today is Tuesday. I took off Monday and Tuesday of this week because Saturday I started my biggest project to date, which was something for myself. And usually those get pushed to the back burner, but I wanted to redo my deck. When I moved in, the deck was only like a little 10 by 12 deck. And I said that I always wanted to redo it because, I mean, it was at least 20 plus years. And the wood was all rotted and whatnot. So, a couple screws here and there held it together for at least a good year and a half. But it's seen its days. So I ripped it apart on Saturday, started rebuilding, added some new joists, put up a ledger on the house, had to pour some concrete. It was a big project that I took on, and I'm still not done with it just because I ran out of supplies. So I've been doing that for the past 4 days, and everything else got kind of put on the back burner. Yes, sir.
Well, I saw your Instagram post or your lives or whatever you were doing. Not lives, the stories you were doing. And I just couldn't believe how big your deck was getting. It was actually impressive.
It's now 10 feet out from the house and then 16 foot wide. So, I mean,
that's a big deck.
It is. And, I only gained like 40 square foot, but when you stand on that,
but you probably also gained confidence. I'm just saying.
I did. My wooden deck got a lot bigger. And, it took a lot of screws too. So, hopefully none of them are loose. Go ahead.
Did you use star bits?
I did.
That's good. I like star bits. They're a lot easier to go in than the Phillips.
Speaking of which, did you ever see this company called Velocity Screws? It looks like they're newer to the community, but if you check them out, they have a patented bit and screw that kind of lock together. And I mean, they literally put in a Phillips head screw into a stud and just hang the drill from it, and it doesn't fall. But literally, they could just pull it right off, and it's not magnetic. There's no connection that you have to like undo. It's a redefined Phillips bit and screws. I definitely want to pick them up and try them out because I'm curious to see how well they work. And because I've always had bad issues with Phillips. You strip them out the second they get a little too tight. If you're going into the stud, then next thing you know, you're stripping the head out, and now you got a screw that's stuck.
So do you plan on staying in this house?
I do. I plan on staying here probably for at least, I would love to stay here for the rest of my life, because then I wouldn't have to worry about buying another house and seeing what problems that has. But I'm guessing probably another 15 years.
Well, the reason I ask is because if you're building the deck now, it's probably going to last you that entire time. And by the time you go and sell it, it's going to be somebody else's problem. A deck that lasts 15 plus years is outstanding, right? Because the wood and all that. But What I would have done was I would have used a whole bunch of different types of screws, like Phillips, flathead, star bits, all that stuff, all over on the same planks, so that when the new customer or the new homeowners would go and do repairs, they're like, what was this guy smoking? And then you could leave a little note underneath in a plastic bag that says, ha, 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 joke's on you, you know what I mean?
Well, the whole thing was, if you did that, my luck that I would have to replace that board that I put all
Before
those
you
different
left.
screws. It wouldn't be the next board over. It would be that board that I'd have to replace.
Yeah.
But, I'm hoping that I don't have to do any major repairs to it. I'm going to let the wood dry out because, pressure treated wood, it's soaking wet when you get it. And then I'm going to let it dry, and then I'll protect the whole thing. So at least I'll have some kind of protection before it starts rotting out. But I mean, it looks gorgeous now, and I wish it would stay the way it is, but pressure treat turns gray, silvery, it gets nasty. So definitely have to protect it soon. And then I can't wait to see it all done. I just got I got the stairs left and another section of railing, and then some accent lighting and whatnot. So, I mean, it's coming along. I really, really enjoy it. And, I had a proud moment. It was like, I stood back and actually smiled and smirked because I put the last board in and I just held it up like maybe a couple inches, let it fall into place, and it sat so perfectly and it looked so good. I was like, wow, I actually rebuilt the deck and made it bigger. I just didn't keep it the same size. So it was a big accomplishment. Definitely got my confidence up. And now I have to get back into the shop and clean up first because it's just a disaster from that project. It's, you take some tools out and then you take more tools and more tools and you don't put anything back. You just put it on the table the table saw.
Any flat surface.
And I will say my bandsaw came in handy because I had to do half laps on the corner posts, or I'm sorry, the 4x4 posts. So I was doing it the way that, you do it on the miter saw, you take some chips at it, and then you take a chisel, and then you smooth it out. My father comes over, he goes, why are you doing it like that? You have the bandsaw. And I'm like, yeah, but that's in the garage. I'm working outside. He's like, go use the bandsaw. So literally I took the miter saw, had it set at the right depth, cut one cut, and brought it into that the bandsaw, and it worked great. That resawing, it was dead straight. I'm so happy I bought that bandsaw. Literally. So while in the midst of all this, I sent a few messages to Josh, and I replayed them for Kim, and she was rolling in laughter because of how I sounded. I was defeated. A flag has defeated me, and I've never felt that way ever. Well, I have a collaboration flag that another maker in next town over had made, and he asked if I could do some more CNC work on it. The customer who he was making it for already had one like this, but wanted it tweaked slightly. But the two badges that I had to engrave on it had to be exactly the same. Okay, no problem. Well, for some reason, I rendered it with a 60-degree V-bit, so the RC-1148 from Amana Tools, and it rendered great until I hit send and noticed that I was getting these fat lines. It wasn't dividing it like the rendering showed. So I pretty much ruined it, and I was contemplating on just either remaking one or just telling them, here's some money, and you got to make another one and find somebody else to do it, because I was done. So with that, send some messages to Josh. Him and I are brainstorming, come up with a idea to make a standalone badge and then inlay it into the flag. So I'm going to pocket out my mistake. And it worked out actually really well. After I think I made probably 5 badges. And no, I did. Oh, I had to get that pocket 100% correct because I didn't want to make it too big so that the inlay would slap around. I wanted it to be a nice tight fit. I must have ran, I ran the pocket at 0.008 offset from the original badge and worked my way all the way up into 0.013. So I had a lot of 5-minute passes, and I think I wasted at least an hour on it trying to get that pocket 100% perfect, and it came out nice.
But how well did it fit?
Well, let's put it this way. That badge was I used a dial-in or a micrometer for it, and I got it at, I think, like 0.27 thickness, so just over a quarter of an inch. And the pocket was at 0.26, and let me tell you, it stuck up just a hair. Problem was, I wanted to go a little bit deeper, but as Josh just mentioned, that badge was not coming out at all. It got so wedged in there that I don't have any glue behind it, no nails, no nothing. It's literally sitting in there just by tension. And then I messaged Josh again and said, should I drill a hole in the back so I could push the badge out to get glue? And his thing was, if it's stuck and it doesn't come out if you shake it or tap on it, you're good. So that's what I'm doing. I'm leaving it. The other badge I think I'm going to have to glue in because it's going to be a little bit sloppier.
Can you reach it from the back?
No, there's no way. That's why I was going to drill a hole in the back of the flag right behind the badge so I could like push it out. But
I'm just saying, you can get behind the flag, right?
Oh,
if you pin nailed it, if you pin nailed it a few times from the backside, it might, like, I'm not saying that it's going to come out. I'm just saying that wood likes to play funny games when it gets moist or you know what I mean?
Let me put it to you this way. I'd go to pin nail it. The pin nail would go out through the front and then ruin the whole badge, or it would crack it in half. And I don't have
either way. I think you're going to be good. I mean, if it's in there, it's going to be hanging on the wall. It's not going to be going through a lot of. It's going to be inside, in a living room or office. It's going to be temperature controlled. Wood movement might happen, but it's not going to happen to such an extreme.
And the other thing that I'm kind of hoping for is once he clears it, that the clear is going to kind of bond it to the actual flag, because it's actually raised up just a hair, so it has a very small ledge. So I'm hoping that once he clears it, it's going to kind of just meld to it and hold it all together. I mean, I can't see it coming out unless for some reason the flag itself expands and my badge shrinks, which could happen, I guess. But it actually came out really well. So after we record tonight, I have to finish the second badge, which I already did the pocket for. And hopefully everything comes out good.
How did the second pocket turn out?
Good. And let me tell you, I pocketed it so well that the second badge almost went in. Now, here's the key word, almost. If I forced it, I think I could have went in, but I said, let me run another offset pass. And here's the thing. I want it to be done quicker, so I'm going to up my feeds and speeds. Wouldn't hurt, right? I didn't up it much. Well, I'm in the other room, and I'm listening, and I'm like, it sounds like it's taking a lot more material off than I really wanted it to. And I hear it again, and I'm like, that's strange. I'm only going like 0.003 extra. So I'm going, it's too much. Look at it, and of course the flag moved because the clamps loosened up, and now I have an oblonged pocket. So now I have to remake it and remake the pocket so it's larger to kind of hide it and make a larger badge. It's a whole long process. I didn't post anything about it because I was just so overwhelmed with it. But luckily I had Josh who threw some ideas my way, and it actually worked out.
Sounds like one giant pain in the rear.
Let me tell you, I've been dealing with this for a good week at this point, between trying to get the rendering 100% because I have to mimic exactly what's on her original flag. And then between the carve not going well, now trying to pocket it, now trying to make a standalone badge. I should have just rendered it with one of those fine tip. I think I just picked up I don't remember exactly which one it was, but it was a 15 degree. Yeah, 15 degree engraving bit, which worked out perfect. I should have done that in the beginning. Don't know why I didn't, but lessons learned. Let me put it that way.
I hear you.
You have a question, Josh.
I do. Do you have any idea why the first engraving and the flag didn't work? Do you have any,
because I used the wrong bit.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Because I went down, I used the wrong bit, and I put too much depth on it. I was going, which I thought was nothing. I went 0.005. So to me, 0.05 sounds like absolutely nothing. It sounds like it's just going to scrape the surface. But I quickly learned that a 60-degree V-bit and 0.05 is just like running a V-bit like normal. I mean, I had nothing left. So I really need to stick to those engraving bits if I'm going to do anything intricate and small. Those are my go-to.
Now, you can use a V-bit like the 90 degree or 60 degree, but you have to go to like 0.00 or 0.001.
Yeah.
Or 2. And you can use them like that. They're going to end up almost being like the engraving bit that you end up using. It's just with the 15, you can go a little bit deeper and, get a little contrast in the carve more so than you can get with, using the V-bit as a little shallow pass, scraping the paint essentially. Pretty
much. I mean, that's exactly what the 15 degree bit did. It did take out material, but not terrible, a terrible amount. But I mean, both badges, they turned out great. I was actually able to match the stain that he uses with black spray paint because he uses a stain that's, I think he said it was a Minwax, but it was a custom mix and it's flat. But I've never seen flat stains, so I was like, okay, what can I try? And I have flat black paint, so I carved it out, and I mean, you'd never know. And I'm hoping that when he clears it, everything's going to look all nicey nice, and it's going to work out. So right after we record, I'm going to finish that flag. Hopefully, I don't screw it up. I made sure my clamps, I actually added 2 more clamps after I did the fix pocket on the second badge. I added extra clamps and made sure they were all tight. And I kept checking during the carve that they were all tight. I was like a madman. I had to make sure.
So you have an aluminum bed. So what kind of clamps are you using?
I just picked up some of those T-track clamps that I bought on Amazon. It was like a 2-pack. I think PowerTech makes them. And then also I have the Rockler ones that are made for the CNC that are plastic instead of aluminum because I ran a 1/8-inch bit into my aluminum ones, and let me just tell you, it didn't like it.
I used to listen to 2-pack. Just saying.
Is it that episode?
It is. But anyway, enough of me ranting and raving on that flag. So I'm hoping that it's going to be done, and if it is, and I don't just sell everything in my shop, everyone will see the finished flag on. So
$1 here.
With that, you still have that $1. You have it framed too.
I do.
Right? Unless Nick gives me $5, I'll ship it all down to Texas.
You framed $1?
He framed $1 and said...
Do you not listen to the podcast?
No. I mean, I did, but it's been like... We've been around for almost a year now, man. I can't remember everything.
That $1 is encased... that $1 is for whenever I give up. I told Josh that I'm just going to sell him my whole shop for $1. And so he has one on standby. That was a thumbs up, everybody. That was a verbal thumbs up.
That was a verbal thumbs up. Yes.
So anyway, with that, Nick, I need to know how the big state of Texas is treating yourself.
Well, I love Texas. It's the Lone Star State. Skies at night are big and bright, deep in the heart of Texas. Anyway, my Sawstop, I got word, is shipping tomorrow from the warehouse. Yeah.
Where is this warehouse?
I don't know. It's stateside. Let's put it that way. It's in the United States. So, but it should be here the first week in May.
Nice.
So once it comes in, I'm gonna shoot up to the Woodcraft, pick up the old Sawstop, and it comes in a few different boxes. Bring it home. I got a friend meeting me at the house. He's gonna help me unload it. Then I'm gonna help him load my current current saw, which is a Delta T725 or something like that. I'm gonna load that in the back of his truck, and voila! I'm gonna have to put it together, which is gonna be I'm gonna have to find some time because I really don't have any time right now. But this past week, what's that?
You could always make time for a Sawstop.
Well, you're right. You're right. But this past week we had the Alamo City Makers Meetup, which was fantastic. Over 35 people showed up. There was hot dogs and beer. Woodcraft in San Antonio was very gracious in providing the venue and the food and the beverages. They charged $1 for their raffle, which was for the walnut slab. And the money that they accrued from that raffle was donated to charity. I'm not exactly sure which charity it was, but it was to a good cause. And then our giveaway that we sponsored, because we sponsored a giveaway for this event, was a epoxy mold for coasters or a charcuterie board. And that went to a nice gentleman down there at the Woodcraft as well. Not an employee, but one of the makers that showed up. So
I like that mold behind you, man. It looks great.
hanging on the wall. That's right. So anyway, it was all in all a great turnout. Everybody got a chance to network, and that's what it was for, just so everybody could get a chance to meet each other, especially in this particular time when COVID's kind of winding down, knock on wood. Mm-hmm. People are getting vaccinated, and it's okay to meet other people. It was a great time. And hopefully I get to work with Woodcraft again, and we get to work with Woodcraft, all three of us, in some capacity, because I know that they expressed interest in doing this sort of thing again. So hold on one second. Sorry, guys, that was my youngest. He just peed on the floor. So anyway, I'll clean that up here in a little bit. But what else is going on in my shop? I picked up an Incra box joint jig today.
Spill in aisle 4.
Yeah, spill in aisle 4.
Are we keeping this?
Yes.
I don't care. But so I mean, it happens. The wife's at work, and I'm watching both boys.
Hey, he got so excited that your saw stops coming, he couldn't control himself.
Yeah, well, I mean, it happens. So, but
really
yeah, right.
I taught him everything he knows. So we told him, funny story. We told him not to pee in the pool, right? We've got a little kid pool that blows up. So what does he do? He stands at the edge of the pool, drops trowel, and pees outside the pool. I'm like, dude, we have bathrooms. Come on, man.
Listen to a T, man.
I know, right? So I can't be too mad at him. But yeah, I got an Incra box joint jig. That will pretty much replace my Porter Cable dovetail jig / box jig. And the only reason is I don't do a lot of dovetails, but I do like to make a nice box every now and then. So that's pretty easy to use. I set that up this week. I'm going to have to readjust it once I get the new table saw, though. But the cool thing is you can not only use it with your table saw, but you can go ahead and use it with your router table as well. So you can adjust it for both.
I was gonna ask you what the difference was.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty ingenious design. It's very well built. I mean, you have to assemble it, but if you follow the video, they included a disc, like a CD.
Wow.
Excuse me, a DVD. They included with the actual jig, and you can go
a floppy disk.
It was laser disc.
Stack of floppies.
Yeah, and they had all the instructions on that disc, and you can even go to the YouTubes and just go or YouTube it, and it'll come up, and you can watch it that way. Other than that, I purchased after last week's meeting, and you guys were talking about the 30-degree router bit that you're using for etching your wood. I was like, yeah, what the heck? I went ahead and pulled the trigger. Spent like 30 bones, and everything Amazon here shows up the next day, which is pretty awesome. So I had it the next day, immediately put it to work, and it worked like a dream. I didn't have to worry about blowout. I didn't have to worry about my depth so much, and it doesn't take as long as the 22-degree V-bit that I have that looks like a syringe. So anyway, yeah, that's all I got going on in my shop. Oh, I did forget. I'm working on this giant shadow box right now. It's got lights on the inside of it, and it's in the shape of a Air Force Master Sergeant chevron. If you check out the Instagram, I've got a couple photos. It's in progress. It'll be done before Friday, and I'll be sending it out Friday to the customer, and hopefully it won't get destroyed en route. So, but that's all I got going on in my shop at the moment. I'm pretty much caught up on orders. Josh, what about you, man? What's going on in your shop?
Well, a lot. I have like 10, 11, maybe 12 orders going at the same time. So I'm a little bit busy. I did get word the mallet I shipped to Africa arrived safe and sound. Now, I did do the 2-box technique, and he said the first box looked pretty bad, but the second box is perfect. So,
yeah, there you go, man. I told you, man. They'd like to play soccer a lot over there with our mail. So,
but yeah, I was happy that he finally got that down there. It didn't take as long as I thought it was going to. I think it was like maybe 2-3 weeks.
Yeah,
it was there. So.
Who was the carrier?
I sent it to USPS.
It went to an APO, right?
Yeah, it went to APO.
So
then it goes to another carrier, and then
once it gets to the hub, which I believe is in Djibouti, because that's on the Horn. No, I'm being serious. Because they'll go ahead and either A, air it in, like mill air it into wherever it's going, or B, they'll contract it out to vetted, and I do say that with air quotes, vetted carriers in the region. And those are the guys that like to. You ever see those horror stories of people throwing your mail across a room into a truck? Yeah, that's the horror stories that I've seen it firsthand. So, yeah.
Anyway,
anywho, yeah. So that was nice getting that there. But yeah, I have. Let's see. I did my first box on the CNC. I was doing a small 6x6x6, and I broke a bit. I don't think I've ever done that other than when it dived into my bed that one time.
You're breaking a lot of bits, man.
No, it's only my second one.
I thought it was a third one, like in 3 weeks.
No,
I'm only at one.
Oh,
no.
Dude,
go ahead.
I don't know. If I had $1 for every bit I broke, I'd probably be a rich man.
Yeah, you would, because you saved that money. But no, I broke one when my Z-axis went nuts and dived into the bed, which I know now what causes that. But this, I honestly don't know. I wasn't going aggressive. I wasn't going fast. In fact, I wrote into Tools today saying, "Hey, what happened here?" And they said, "Hey, what's your feeds and speeds?" I sent it to them, and they sent me back their feeds and speed recommendation. And it's like maybe 2-3 times what I was running. So I still don't quite understand like why it would have broke.
What bit and what wood?
I'm gonna have to pull that up real quick. It was just plywood. It was like 1/2-inch plywood and some scrap I had laying around. And as far as the bit goes, I'm trying to pull up that conversation because it's in there. I just got to get to it. But it was a compression bit that I use typically to cut out, my projects. A lot of times I won't go all the way. I'll go 3/4 of the way, and then I'll go ahead, use the bandsaw, cut it out, and then use a flush trim bit on my router table to finish the job. But this, I just flattened the bed. So that's one thing I did get done. I flattened my bed again on my CNC, and I sealed it. It was completely flat. And I'm like, a good way to test this out is, do this pre-cut for the box, because I have to do 2 larger ones, and I want to see how well this works, how well they fit together, everything like that. So going back to the bit was a 46-155-K. Now, I bought that bit for that exact purpose, to cut out items, plywood, hardwood, softwood when I do use it. And it broke in 3. Like, I didn't see it break, so I don't actually know like what happened. But when I came back, I could see where it stopped and kind of like zigzagged out, and then like it just stopped carving. It was air carving, and there was 3 pieces. Just one piece was laying to the side. The other piece I still haven't found, and the bit that was still in the router. But yeah, it was. I was kind of upset about it because that was the last bit I bought.
Yeah.
Like, there was not enough mileage on it for it to broke. But anywho, what are you going to do? apparently I wasn't running it nearly fast enough, which I'm sure probably helps with cutting. But I mean, I think if you ratio and proportioned the stuff I was running versus what I think would have been fine. I don't see an issue with
even
it.
I just look back at your conversation. I mean, you're doing 30 inches a minute and at 0.028 depth per pass. You're
really
less
deep.
than. No, I mean, you're less than what they want. They want an eighth inch.
And
They wanted me to go 150 inches per minute at an eighth per pass.
I don't understand how that, like, if anything, you're preserving the bit longer, but
Yeah.
I wrote back saying my CNC would explode because I don't think the X-Carve could handle that. He hasn't replied to me. I don't know if they will, but it was just one of those things where it was like, you know what? It happens. It could have been anything. It could have been a fracture in the bit. It could have been anything. So, in true nature, I went and bought a different compression bit. Actually, AJ turned me on to a flattened compression bit. I think it is. No, you're shaking
compression.
Your head?
It's just a flat.
No, I asked you about two different bits. I asked you about a compression bit and a flattened.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyway, I bought two bits. I could look up the numbers for you, but long story short, got two bits coming in, one to replace the one that broke and one to help carving flat or signs and whatnot. Because when I was doing some of the signs earlier in the week, I didn't get a really good surface with what the bit I was using, which was a downcut bit because of the flutes. But yeah, that's the CNC story there. But going on, after that, I used the downcut bit that originally. Oh, Nick, what's up?
sorry, man. at least they responded to your message and didn't leave you in the lurch like Freud when I messaged them about the same thing. I'm not mentioning any names or wait, oops.
You want
But
to put
anyway.
them down as companies mentioned?
No, I straight up, like, I mentioned.
I like tools today, though.
Well, yeah, they got good customer service, but I emailed DM'd said company on a bit that was brand new that snapped, and I gave them feeds and speeds and everything, and I was like, is this like, is this maybe a bad lot, or was there a problem with, have you had this problem before? What's going on? Because I'm spending money on these bits just like Josh is, and I can't afford to just keep throwing money down the drain and crickets. So more power to you, brother. I go with tools today now because I deal with the Spectra bits just like you. So
you have to. I mean, they're good bits. They're great customer service. I mean, they definitely get back to you, and the shipping is extremely fast. I know I'm lucky enough that they're only like right across the border in New York, so I get them. If I order it midday, I'll get it the next day, which is really, really nice. And I'm guessing Nick will probably get it within a day or two.
Yeah, anything I order off
tomorrow.
Amazon, I get within a day. And if it's fulfilled by Tools Today, then it's definitely
good.
They're
stuff.
really fast, impressively fast.
They are.
But yeah, so that's my CNC story. But I use that same system to basically carve out two larger boxes. I'll be bending plywood for the first time.
Nice.
How you doing that?
Multiple cuts, and then
Down to the veneer or whatever?
pretty much, and then doing that. It's something that I didn't necessarily have to do because the customer's like, I don't care. Do a flat top if you want to on the box. But the original box she gave me has like a nice, curve to it. And it's not so severe where I have to go crazy. But it's a nice learning. I could take the time. I could learn it. And then, it's a new technique I could add to the arsenal. So if it doesn't work out, it looks like they'll be flat. It's plain and simple.
Okay.
But I'm at least going to try one. I already got the sides done. That router table is so sweet to have. It makes doing things like repeating. I can make one side to that box and then basically take a cutout of a piece of wood similar to size. I put a double-sided piece of tape on there, and then I just carve it out. And I did that 4 times, and I had my sides done. Incredibly fast and efficient, which I love in the shop.
Nice.
Yeah, and most of the projects I got to a point where I could start doing at night when I can't make much noise. So, I can start finishing up projects throughout the week. Out there right now, I have to finish up a cutting board or a charcuterie board, finish up the boxes. I have to finish up painting one sign, and then epoxying one sign. I have to finish up a bench and some other stuff out there. But yeah, and then I got some new stuff in the shop as well. I finally got in my woodpecker router fence that was back ordered. Once it came in, it arrived like maybe 3 days later. So pretty stoked about that.
Woodpecker.
I haven't put it together.
Great American company out of Strongsville, Ohio. I know they make the stuff on site, so
yeah, they do.
Quality.
Oh, definitely. Quality. I mean, the box that it came in, it was heavy. I kind of expected it to come together, but it wasn't. So, funny story. I was actually, it was last night, and the show's kind of winding down. I'm like, hey, it's like Christmas morning. I'm going to go grab the box. I'm going to open it. I'm going to pull it out. I'm going to take a look at it. And as I'm pulling it out, it's piece by piece. My wife's like, you're going to put that together tonight? I'm like, no. I just wanted to look at it.
Are you going to post pictures of it on your Instagram when you have it all set up?
Oh, yeah, probably. Maybe even do a build time lapse of it.
Ooh, getting fancy schmancy now.
Fancy pants. Anyway, and then I was talking to some friends at Merca, and I got a halfway decent deal, and I bought myself a Duros 6-inch 5mm, and yeah, that arrived today. They charged me yesterday, shipped it out, and arrived today.
So, nice.
Wow. Even faster than
pretty
Amazon.
Excited. Yes. I actually made the joke of, did you guys drive it down and deliver it to my door personally? Because it was that fast. I got to open the package. I looked in it. I got to hold it in my hands. But I haven't turned it on yet. So we'll wait until I do that to give a good feedback session on that. But
I'd like to talk about... I'm sorry. Go ahead, AJ. What were you saying?
No.
I'd like to touch on the shipping or at least the availability for Merca sanders as opposed to Festool. So when I was at the Woodcraft, I was talking to one of the store owners, and he was telling me about how everything on Festool is backed up. Like if you have to order it, and it's going to take like 2 months to get it, roughly.
Wow.
Just because the whole pandemic has spawned this maker movement, like revolution, and everybody's buying this stuff up. And they're even selling floor models now. They don't even care. You know what I mean? They're like, because normally you go in there like, can I get the floor model? They're like, no, it's a display piece, and we'll get more in. But that's just astounding that you ordered that Merca, and then the next day it arrived.
Let me caveat that. So I talked to the people at Merca a week prior, and I said I was interested and I will buy one. Gave them my information, and it was on back order. So when they got it in, when they charged my card yesterday, they mailed it out the same day and received it today.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So
but still a week. A week's not bad compared to like 2 months. They've been
back ordered. It's been on back order for a while. Their whole supply. I just happened to hit it at the right time.
That's pretty key there. But so like it never fails though. Now what's going to happen is you're going to see a bunch of Merca sanders on Facebook Marketplace for sale. Yeah. So no lie. As soon as I ordered my Sawstop, I saw there was one in I think an hour north of San Antonio. Some guy was selling one, and he was selling it for like $600 cheaper, and the thing looked brand spanking new. And he was like, I just don't need it. So
it's the same as buying a car. You're like, I've never seen this car on the road. You take it out of the lot and you get in line.
You're at the first stoplight and somebody else pulls up next to you.
Yeah, and there's a whole 3 lanes of the same car, make, model, color, everything.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's how it is.
I will say, when I brought it into the wood shop, I swear my D-wall almost fell off the wall. He was like, You brought another sander in.
Well,
What's this?
You got filet mignon now, brother. That DeWalt's like ground beef.
Yes,
No offense to DeWalt, but like their sanders aren't.
We'll see.
What do you mean we'll see? You've held that DeWalt for a long period of time before and probably got a numb hand from doing it, right?
I don't know what you mean. I can't eat soup.
So now you got this Mirka, and do you have the dust extractor for it?
I do not. I didn't go that far. I will eventually, but as is, I barely got this one through the door while the wife killed me.
Well, so it's meant to work, obviously, with the sandpaper with all the holes in it and stuff. It's meant to work in conjunction with that to clear the dust out so you don't burn through your paper faster. But the cool part is, even if you hook it up to your dust collector, like you can run like a reducer down the hose or whatnot, and it'll still do a pretty good job of it. It's not going to be like the suction that you would get from one of those, the Mirka Vacs or whatever, but the DeWalt, but the DeWalt's going to shake your darn hand off if you're holding it for any longer than like 15 minutes. The Mirka and any of the Festool ones, I guarantee you can hold on to them for long periods of time, and you won't get that numbness in your hands, or you won't feel like.
So, I wasn't going to go down and get a Mirka. I wanted to get a good sander. I've been talking about a good sander for a while, but when I did this table, I sat there and I was sanding, and it gets to the point where you're sitting there and you're like, my wife actually walked out on me when I had my ISO tunes on.
I'm sorry,
and
bro.
I was jamming.
Oh, never mind. She walked in on you.
Yes, when I was sanding, jamming out, and she's like, "You've been sanding like all day," and I'm like, "Yeah, I have." And there's a pile of like, burnt out sandpaper discs like laying. And I will say Orca Abrasives, their sandpaper is great. But when you're sanding a large area like, a table, you're going to burn through at least one or two. And
especially when you don't have any airflow that you're creating.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, like sometimes I'll hook it up to the shop vac, but it's a pain because it's just a pain. You need a special adapter for that. And, I jerry rigged something that works, but it's just,
Rockler
the shop vac is louder than the sander.
Well, yeah.
So,
but the Rockler makes an adapter that fits pretty much. It's a one size fits all. Like,
yeah, I have those, and it doesn't really fit the DeWalt. It doesn't stay. It vibrates out.
Oh. Yeah, the DeWalt, it's a weird connection on that back of the DeWalt because they have multiple size ports on it already. They have like a larger one for the bag, and then they have a reduced one for a hose. And I know that the Festool hose does fit over the reduced one. It will vibrate itself out, but if you jam it in there good enough, it will stay.
I like my Festool hose.
I do too, because I don't get shocked by it anymore, which is amazing.
I have still never really got shocked by my tools.
See, AJ, I cheaped out and got the ones without the anti-shock coating, and I don't have any problems with it.
See, now, you were talking about, Josh, reducing his dust collector down. Now, I did that for sanding because I went, they got a 4-inch reducer to a smaller one. So I hooked up the rigid, like 1 in some odd, sized hose.
1.25?
Yeah, it's the smaller one. And it worked. But the problem was I got shocked by that so many times. And I wasn't picking up anything. All the dust would actually stay within the hose because you have a 4-inch hose going down to this 1 and change. I also hooked it up to my shop vac. Problem with the shop vac, and I learned quick, because I always thought, what's the difference between a dust extractor and a shop vac? I mean, they both suck. So it's like they're both going to work, right?
Not so
I
much,
learned
man.
quick that the velocity of a shop vac is a lot higher. So you're going from a 2.5 inch down to 1 1/4. And what happens is it creates a Venturi effect. And so the dust actually doesn't go into the shop vac as much. Some does, but most of it stayed within the hose.
You said
when
a
it's
what
created,
effect?
a venturi. So it's like a
Spell that.
venturi.
You never heard of that before?
No, I'm looking it up.
It creates it's a turbulence.
This is one of the laws we had to. Yeah,
so,
I know what you mean.
So it creates a turbulence within the hose, and what happens is that turbulence creates the static. So every time I would run the shop vac, no matter where I was or what I was doing, I would get shocked. I'd feel my hair getting pulled towards it. My shirt would get pulled towards it. All the dust would stay within the hose. Now that I'm using the Festool, nothing stays in the hose. 1, and 2, I don't get shocked because it is an anti-static hose, which is so beautiful. And the amount of dust that gets picked up off the board that I'm sanding, because you'll notice complete difference between, running off your shop vac or whatnot. A lot of it stays on the board and does not get sucked up, no matter what paper
I will say,
using.
yeah, that does. I wanted to get an extractor, but they're more expensive than the tool. So
I wish I bought my extractor a year ago. That's how good it is.
You can look into a Fine, Fein. They're right up there, man, and they're not as expensive as the Festools. The Festools are no. Don't get me wrong. Festool makes some good stuff, but they are ridiculous for the price of that vac or that extractor.
Yeah, but I mean, like if I'm going to spend money on it, I want to get something that's going to last and is
read your reviews. I'm
quality
sure.
Too.
I'm pretty sure the Fines are right up there, like neck and neck with Festool. And then you don't
thinking about maybe just going with a Merca brand because I mean they are a little bit cheaper and they're equivalent. And I know someone that has both, so I have to speak to them and see what they think.
I definitely when I was looking at the Festool, the Merca, and then the Fine is on the cheaper side. The one thing that steered me to the Festool overall, I can't remember if the Fine is also HEPA. I don't believe it is. But
I know Merca is.
The Merca and the Festools are, yeah.
In the end, though, like, do you really need the? I know you wear like a face covering and stuff like that, Josh, and you have that air purifier, right?
Yeah. I actually just got a brand new mask in from RZ Mask, and it works great, especially when I'm sanding and doing all that.
But do you need the HEPA filter? Because and there's a reason I say this is because the HEPA filters are way more expensive than the bags for these dust extractors.
Those bags are expensive, but
the filters are even more, and you only get like 1 or 2, and the bags you get like 4. So
I don't know. There are definitely a couple of things I still like to upgrade in the shop. Like I definitely like to get a better air purifier. And then the dust extractor itself, but I think that's going to be a next year thing. I did get a lot of upgrades this year again. I was fortunate to have that table saw money come back and able to spread it out and actually upgrade the shop quite a bit. But it's time to use the stuff that I got in, and saying that I also got a leaf blower, electric one. Black & Decker in to help blow out the shop.
Oh, yeah.
And, dude, I don't know why I did not get one from the very beginning. Like, it is so much better than what I've been doing. Because, I try to keep it pretty clean in there. I vacuum up everything I can. But I took that leaf blower in the back left-hand corner, and I blew all over my shop back and forth. And
you took it in the back
dust
left
just
corner.
went everywhere. I mean, at the entrance of my garage, it looked like, the Sahara Desert during a dust storm. I'm sure my neighbors love me. So I did it on a very windy day. So hopefully it didn't get all over everyone's vehicles out there. But it was.
They're going to be like, man, the pollen's terrible.
Yeah. Well, the kicker here is I resurfaced my CNC bed. And when I do that, it's very hard for me to have any kind of dust collection going because of the bit being so large. So I had all this fine dust on that bed, and I just took that leaf blower and went, and it just like went all outside instantly. And it was nice. Let's just put it that way. I might have played with it a little too long because I started blowing things off the wall and stuff. But I was excited I got it.
You got a new toy. You got to at least try and.
Oh yeah, I went outside the garage and was blowing I didn't realize how much dust I blew out until I shut the door and I was on the outside. My door is for the garage is usually white. It was brown because that much dust has settled on top of it. So I had. So
you shut the garage door and blew that off then too?
No, I'm actually going to use the power washer we got off Marketplace for like $60.
Ooh, moving on.
But yeah, we got a whole bunch of new stuff in. Marketplace is awesome, man. I got a power washer, electric mower in the last couple of weeks off there, and I don't think I've spent more than $100 off those two machines, and they're brand new. So,
I'm telling you, this is a callback to Marketplace Savvy. It's worth it if you're looking for new stuff, man, or even slightly used stuff. Have somebody else take the depreciation hit as they drive it off the lot, as per se. You know what I mean? And then when they don't, they sell it for less.
Exactly. Like I got the mower from a older man that basically this is what he told me. He goes, he lived in a community and he's like, they mow our yards for us. The only reason I got this particular lawnmower electric was because they would miss spots, 1 or 2 spots every time. And I'm like, how long have you had it? He goes, oh, just about maybe a year, maybe, year and a half. So the thing has barely been used. And if anything, it just hit a couple spots that, whatever company that their community was using was missing. So score.
Okay.
Score.
Nice. Well, Josh mentioned that he got a lot of new tools in. And I have to know, Nick, besides the Sawstop, I know you talked about the Incra. Was there anything else that was new in your shop?
No, just like minor things. Just I got I think I mentioned this before, but it's not really a tool, but it holds my laptop up. It raises it above the CNC bed and keeps it away from where the dust's at. It's like a swivel arm.
So only a tool uses it.
Well, yes. But so Josh made one. And Josh sent me the plans for this thing, and I was doing the math, like about all the plywood I was going to need, and the piping, and the fixtures, and all that stuff for it. And I was like, well, shoot, I can get one on Amazon for like $45. Why? I mean, it's gonna, you know what I mean? It's going to cost me almost twice that to build it myself. So I cheaped out and bought the Amazon one, and have been disappointed. I ordered new boxes for my goods since I'm shipping from Uline, and wow, they custom sizes for whatever you make, because I make a lot of the same size things over and over again. They're not cheap, but if you factor that price into the cost, for the customer, pass it along, then it's really not a big deal. It's just I had I think like 75 or 100 of them, and now I don't have to worry about like cutting up old Amazon boxes and building my own boxes anymore, which was always time consuming. I don't have time for that. It takes me a good 45 minutes to custom make a handful of boxes for some orders, when all I got to do is just pay $3 or $4 a box. I think it's $3 a box, and boom, it's already cut to size. You just put the bubble wrap and the foam or whatever around it. So that's my new stuff in the shop.
Wait, question on the boxes. Where'd you get them from?
Uline, ULINE. I think it's .com. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. I got to go ahead and do a quick Googler search. But
it's uline.com.
You can search any size box you want. And I mean, chances are they'll have it. Besides half inches and stuff like that. So you can do mine are like 24 by 12 or 13. I think it's 13, 24 by 13 by 3. And if I have to cut them down, I can even cut them down further if I'm shipping something smaller, which I don't really like to do just because I paid so much for that large box. But yeah.
Well, I just, right before we started recording, I was looking at stories, and I came across Mike over at Veteranwoodco. he was packaging up a piece that he made, and he mentioned that they have these flat pack boxes. So they actually come a flat piece of cardboard with perforations in it so that you can make it different thicknesses. In my case, with the flags, sometimes they're a little bit thicker, sometimes they're a little thinner. And then when I add the bubble wrap and the pipe insulation around it so that it protects all the edges, I have to get this wonky sized box. And so I can never find something that fits perfectly. And then I just came across him on his stories, and I just looked them up. And for the price of one box, I think it's like $7. That's not that bad. Luckily at my job, we get some of the kind of like sized boxes, but I still have to cut them down. So it's a lot of wasted time that I put into it.
I gotta tell you, man, there is nothing worse than getting a box in the mail from, like, you order something and you get a box in the mail that looks like Tommy Boy's luggage. I'm just saying. Oh. Like trash bags wrapped with duct tape, like makeshift padding, all that stuff. It's like, oh, geesh. I mean, it doesn't really, emit confidence in packaging. I'm just saying.
Yeah, so. No. Well, I mean, I hate to even admit this, but the 4-foot flag, I couldn't find a box that was big enough. I couldn't even find 2 boxes that I could have put together. So I made my own. Mm-hmm. And let's just say there was a lot of tape involved. I think even some tuck tape was involved. Hopes and dreams. And I mean, it made it there, but that box looked like hell. Yeah. I was almost thinking, like, maybe I should slap a sticker on it just so it, like, kind of shows, like, some kind of pride.
Like crafted in NJ.
Yes.
Were they talking about the flag or the box?
The flag and the box.
No, so
he's a great flag maker. Box maker, not so much.
No.
Before, I used to think like whatever, right? I didn't care. I would have my Etsy shop, which is still up and running, but it would be the customer gets a plaque and if it makes it in one piece, that's all that matters. But I think presentation definitely helps, especially when they go to repeat orders and stuff like that. So,
yeah,
absolutely,
it definitely does.
The reason why I asked so many questions about, like, you guys using Shippo and like the boxes you're getting is because I can see the benefit of having a box that fits. I've been shipping these mallets out. It's not a one-time deal. I'm pretty sure I'll be getting these orders multiple times. In fact, I just got orders for the 2-foot mallets for the RV. I have 2 I have to make, and they have 4 more they want me to make after that. So it's not going away anytime soon.
You're shipping them?
Not the Army ones, not the 2-foot ones, but the 1-foot ones, the OSI ones.
Do you have those in your Etsy shop?
I do not. That's all local orders.
Throw them up on that Etsy shop. Like, seriously, you make some money off them, boy. I'm telling you.
Maybe when I can actually, I don't know if I could take any more orders at the moment. I'm actually thinking about holding off on a couple, just because I have so many right now.
How long does it take to make one of those smaller mallets?
Well, the smaller mallets don't take that long, especially if I have nothing else going on. I could pretty much get the mallet ready to go and complete a mallet in 2 days with a laser engraving if that's all I worked on.
So I know, I'm not saying like, so Etsy, you always give a estimated turnaround time or a projected turnaround time or like worst case scenario. So everything on my page says it's made to order and it could take up to 21 days before it ships. And I have that written into their black and white. So Etsy can't ding me for not shipping until the 21st, after the 21st day, then they can do whatever they want. But that gives me the especially if I'm slammed with local orders or other orders or whatnot. But I always make sure that Etsy's like priority just because it's I don't know. My Etsy customers, I got a lot of repeats, No,
I hear you. I've been getting a lot of repeat customers, especially here. And this is one of those things where I'm trying to manage everything appropriately. Like this beginning of May, I have a lot of things that need to be complete or close to being complete. And a lot of them are not that hard. I just have to wait for like the client to get back to me with a photo. Or I got this one whiskey display out of walnut and cherry that I'm doing. And what me and the client came up with is truly one of the most unique pieces I've done. And it's just going to look gorgeous. And I'm excited for the guy receiving it because I actually might make one for myself. It's that unique and just beautiful. But going back to clients and expecting fast turnaround, I actually ran across something that I haven't really had too much experience with. And it was a client that reached out. They asked me a question. Now, I try to reach back to clients right away, or at least in a day or two, depending on my schedule, because for some reason they like messaging me like right about now. It's like 9:30. And I don't feel like, talking to someone at 9:30 at night about a possible job. I usually try to wait to the middle of the day when I get to it. And a day went by, and the guy literally wrote back, hello, question mark, explanation, question, like he was offended I did not get back to him right away. I've been thinking about adding in my, at least my Facebook profile, that this is not a primary, job.
So how long did it take you to get back to this guy?
Maybe a day and a half.
That's reasonable. I mean, you email any large company, you're lucky if they get back with you in a day. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I don't think it was unreasonable. I really do try to get back to people. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer. I've actually even thought about putting something on my profile saying, we give out quotes a certain day. And that way it gives me basically a week to come up with a quote and then get back to people. Because I don't usually get the same stuff over and over. The stuff I do, it's great. I know how to do it. I can go do it real quick. Yeah. But it's all custom stuff.
Yeah. I mean, that's I don't know what the issue was. If he thought it was unprofessional or if he was just had a thorn in the dude's craw, but there's no harm, no foul there, man. It takes me a day to get back to people. It takes me a day. I'm sorry. Sorry, bro. I have a real job, and then I do this. So.
Well, and that's why I'm trying to think of a way to do like automated response. Like, hey, thank you for reaching out to North Country Woodworking. This is, my second job essentially. We try to get back to you within 24 hours. If we don't, expect something soon after. So just maybe just like an automated message, let them know that, we received their message, we, heard them, and that, this is a timeline you can kind of expect. Or just put in my profile, hey, Saturdays we give out quotes.
You can do that, though. You can do that. I know Veteranwoodco does that. Again, with the Mike does that. I've shot him a message on Instagram before. I slid into his DMs, and I get a message response immediately saying, hey, you've reached, Veteranwoodco, blah, blah. And I was like,
yeah.
Oh, he's got an auto response on there. That's awesome. But I don't know if you have to download something for that or if it's just a way you can set it up on the IG. So that's a good idea.
I think it might be a solution.
If you have Business Suite, it's an app that you can download, and it ties your Facebook and your Instagram together, so that because I wasn't getting my messages from Facebook Messenger.
I do have Business Suite,
yeah. So you can actually put an auto response on there, and it will send it for both Instagram and Facebook Messenger for your woodworking page. Because like my normal page, I don't even use it on Facebook, but anything that comes through there doesn't get tied to that. It's just for the linked accounts for it, like any of your business profiles or anything like that. And it's nice because it's all in one spot, and you can separate your comments. You can separate the messages from Facebook and Instagram.
I use that almost entirely. I don't go onto my Facebook page. I have everything pretty much cross posted from Instagram to Facebook. Yep. No offense to the Facebook users out there, but I hate Facebook. I don't like the interface. I don't like anything about it. Instagram is so easy. It just so easy to do everything. I mean, you can respond. You can see what's going on. It feels like Facebook is just overly complicated for no reason. I will say, Mike, I've been watching his YouTube videos from Veteranwoodco, and he does some really good tutorials on Aspire.
Yeah, he does.
And Vetric. And, you know, I'm trying to learn it as much as I can. There's some interesting stuff in there that you can do that Easel does not have. So, I think I'm going to start playing around with that and kind of see how that goes. It's just, it's a little bit different because I know, AJ, you've never seen this, but when you import something into Easel from like Vetric, it's completely different looking. Like it just shows, it shows basically your carve and toolpath. And then like, it's a little bit odd looking. It's off-putting a little bit, especially when you've been using only Easel. Nick, have you had any experience with importing like a Vetric file into Easel?
Not yet. No, I'm still.
No,
I've got 99 million things going on, brother, and that's
I hear you, man.
That's my 99 million thing and one to get to.
Yeah.
So, and besides, I'll start doing that when I upgrade my machine. I mean, I'll start beforehand to like messing around with it, trying to get all my files converted. But until then, I can't afford to just like sit down and mess with it because I have orders, So
No, I hear you 100%. But the reason I'm actually doing what I'm doing is because I want to try a 3D carve. I bought a 3D carve off a 3D Wave, I think it's called. If it's not, I'll correct it. But anyway, it's the Flight Engineer wings, and I really want to carve that because I think it would be a great going away present depending on time, stuff like that for the engineers, at least my squadron and stuff. And it's basically, an STL file. I just have to, I already went into Vetric, imported it, and looked at a rough and then a detail pass. But I have to figure out how I'm going to do it in Easel. I think I have to do the roughing pass as a separate file and then go back and do basically a detail. But how to set that up and like how that works is totally new to me. So it's just a side project I'll never get to.
Why? Just out of curiosity, I know you've been using Easel just because it's I guess an easier interface to work with and you're used to it. Why aren't you just using Aspire?
Well, it's because it's a completely different new interface. I have to learn a new program for like.
Yep.
I haven't had a need for it. There hasn't been a point in time where I was like, I can't do this in Easel. I have to do it in Aspire and do it this way. I've been able to do pretty much everything in Easel, but I'm finding that if I want better quality signs and I want to be able to customize those and do everything, I might have to move to a better program, which would be Vetric Aspire.
Okay.
And that's and plus, the tutorials that he's doing, easy to follow, and it was just something that caught my eye to start learning something that it's been on the back burner, but I could play it in the background. I know the layout, so when he's saying, "Hey, click on this button," I'm like, "Oh, I remember that button." But I wanted to add it to my arsenal because you never know. I've had some questions about doing 3D, face before. And if I could be like, yeah, I could do that, I would be the only one in at least my area that would be doing it.
Yeah. No, I was just curious. Like I said, I know that you're using Easel. I jumped in when I did the CNC or when I started it. Vetric was the first program and only program I ever used. So I get it because if somebody told me, hey, start using X, Y, and Z, program, I'd be hesitant just because I now know one program. So now I don't want to have to relearn a whole new thing. So I completely understand. I did not know that because you started talking about that you're going to do 3D within the Easel. I did not know that it was maybe even capable of that. I thought it was just strictly 2D.
Easel is 2.5D.
Okay.
You can import files from Vetric and do that way.
Okay.
It's not so. Bad. I have a buddy from XYZ Millworks. His name's Tim. He runs the Vetric program, but he does a from Vectric, he exports it to PixSender, which is another program that runs the gerbil to the gerbil, to the machine. And he cut easel out completely because I don't know if you've ever looked at easel, how it generates its cut paths. For one, you got to be online, like have an internet connection, which is like if your internet's down, you're screwed. For two, it doesn't make any darn sense. You could I don't know who, there must be a guy in a booth somewhere just scribbling all over stuff, like developing these cut paths. I don't know, like just a little person behind a desk, just angry, just like, I'm gonna really mess this guy up, and go from.
I'm gonna make sure it takes 3 hours instead of 30 minutes.
Right. So I don't know what algorithm it uses, or if there is an algorithm. That's a big word I just made. I don't know. I didn't make it up, but I don't really use it a lot. So I'd like to use big words every now and then. But it's so counterintuitive to how you would do things, right? You ever see and then you watch it carve, and you're like, oh, it's gonna go here next. Nope, it's gonna go somewhere else
there,
and then plunge into the surface, just like drag a huge gouge through. Like sometimes it does mess up too. So,
oh, I know. Anytime I do surfacing, it always will stop mid job, and I have to start it again. And it has to do with either a bad USB connection or the vibration. But when I was resurfacing, I wasn't going too deep with it, and I was going the exact speed I needed to go to get the job done, and it just stopped. It wouldn't go anymore. So I try it again, measure the Z, go at it again, make sure it wasn't going too deep, and not too fast.
Have you ever cut something completely out, right? And it goes around, stops at the point of origin, goes up, down to the new depth, goes around to the point of origin. The bit will go all the way up and then all the way back down. I was like, why? Just lower the bit a little bit more and go again,
I have seen that, and I think it was because I added a new safety height, and it has something to do with that, but I'm not quite sure. Couldn't really speak too much to it.
Anyway, I love Inventables. I love Easel, but some of that's the only issue I have is with that software. Okay.
Well, let's pose this last question, and then we can wrap it up if you guys are good with it.
Yeah.
Nick, AJ, if money was not an issue or space, which CNC would you get?
Oh, there's so many. This goes beyond if money's no issue, But right off the nose, I'll take.
Okay, reasonable issue, something that.
All right, so
you will probably get in the future. How about that?
I'll get a Q Series Stepcraft machine, 4x8 bed, and with a vacuum bed, the vacuum pump, all the the auto bit changing, all that stuff, and then hypothetically already know how to use Vectric.
Have Illustrator, graphic design background. Yep.
I'll second that. I'll go with the Stepcraft as well.
That's the one I want.
It's
so
sexy.
That was easy.
I don't know how Avid makes some beautiful CNC machines, and there's Shop Saber makes really good ones. Mm-hmm. But Stepcraft's just sexy, man. I don't know what to tell you.
The Stepcraft is, and every time I watch Mike's stories, that thing's just amazing. I mean, he gives me a good laugh each and every time that I watch his stories. And did you know his CNC paints as well? That's why I think I need it.
Beautiful. Painting would be a thing of the past.
I believe, didn't it get him lunch one time or something like that?
I don't know about that.
I think it's his best employee.
Right?
It never talks back to you, does what it's supposed to.
I'll tell you what, just a quick gee whiz note, right? If you do, if you want to get a line drawing of something that's not digital, but you already have the vector file, but you want it on a poster board, you can attach a Sharpie to your spindle, all right? Now you don't turn the spindle on, but you zero it out, right? You zero it out, and you keep everything the same consistent depth, at full depth, the entire cut, and it'll actually draw you a picture, assuming your bed's level. It'll draw you that picture that you wanted. So that's some food for thought, especially for you listeners out there who, whose kids love Mickey Mouse and all that stuff, and you suck at drawing. So
there's a story here.
No, I've seen it done before, and I've always wanted to try it, and I've never had an opportunity to try it. I always forget about it.
That's when I built my Millcraft. When I built my Millwright, they tell you that there's a sample file. I didn't use any of their programs that they supplied because every time I read a post on it on the Facebook group, literally every post had an issue. My CNC stopped, it skipped, it did this and that. The program crashed, so I never got to use this file, but I saw a lot of people use the pen method or marker where it draws out their logo. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then I just said, screw it, I'm just going to dive into wood. And I still never did anything like that. But I saw a few people do that and was thinking, what happens if you turn the spindle on? Would the Sharpie stay in? And would it cut?
Honestly, I wouldn't even segment. I wouldn't even tape. I would tape it, but I wouldn't even tape it to the collet. You know what I mean? I would tape it on the side. So
yeah, you get more surface on it. But as we were talking, I could technically, in the space I have, I don't know. Does the Stepcraft come as one piece, or you have to put it together?
When I talked to Mike about it, he said that it all comes together. You have to have a forklift to get it off the darn truck. So
I could make room for a 4x8, but I wouldn't be able to.
That's all you're doing.
I would not be able to do it. Oh, no, not even in the garage where my CNC is now. I could clear that whole bench, get rid of it.
How would you get it in there?
Well, that's the problem. I wouldn't be able to get it in.
You just lift the entire house up with a crane.
The hole's not big enough. I mean, the door's not big enough.
If I had a Stepcraft, if I was getting a Stepcraft
if it doesn't
tomorrow,
fit, I quit, man.
So you can get the 4-foot bed, the 4x4. That might fit.
No, my.
He's thinking. Look, gears are turning.
My garage, the door going from my garage into the CNC area is, I think, like only 26 inches wide.
That's why they make Sawstopsaws, baby.
Oh, trust me, I was gonna. When I first moved in, I'm like, I wonder if I could just blow this wall out because then I could make one big shop and wouldn't have to worry about a pesky door getting in my way. And then that just not.
You kidding? I'm jealous. Like when my CNC's going, I'm hearing that thing the entire time. I can't make a story. I can't go live. If I don't have headphones on, I can't listen to any music or anything. It's just pretty much the entire time.
Well, sometimes that's a good thing, but then my anxiety gets to me and I'm like, oh, I got to check on my CNC. So I pop open the door real quick, just make sure it's not on fire. And then
get a camera.
So check it out.
Yeah.
I strategically, so my house has 5 bedrooms here. I'm not bragging by any means, but I'm just saying I strategically placed my children's bedrooms upstairs at the other end of the house from the garage. I have 2 bedrooms that are almost above the garage. They're like catty corner from it, but their 2 bedrooms guests. Are on. Yeah, so for guests. So I'll knock it off for guests when they show up. But
oh no, screw that.
The kids are at the other end of the house. I don't got to worry about waking them up with a planer or the CNC. And the master bedroom's on the first floor at the other end of the house as well. So as long as I keep that door shut, the door to the main door to the house that goes from the garage, you can barely hear it. And on top of that, like this would be on the last thing, I swear. Every night when I go to bed, I hear like a humming noise, and I think my CNC is running. And my wife always says, is your machine running? And I'm like, no, I shut down like an hour ago. So there's something in this house, whether it be the HVAC or whatever, that sounds just like the machine running in the distance, like behind a door. Not super loud, but it makes that weird whining noise when the machine goes around a bend or whatnot.
Yeah.
It's really weird. So, and our house is on an ancient burial ground for Indians. So, on that note,
wow.
Is there power lines above you too?
Just about 100 yards that way.
Well,
there's a movie like that.
What was that, Poltergeist?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything in your TV reaching out? Yeah. Anywho, I think we should hear from our sponsors there, Nicholas.
All right. One more time, I want to thank Totalboat for everything they have done for us. If you want, check them out, www.totalboat.com. For 15% off your order, use promo code SawdustNationPod. Orca Abrasives, we really appreciate your support. For 10% off your order, go ahead and use promo code SawdustNation10, and that is at their website located. You can find the website located on any of our Instagrams. And last but not least, thank you so much to Jtechphotonics for making this podcast possible. You guys are awesome. Give them a shout out. Give them a look-see on the interwebs at www.jtechphotonics.com.
I know I'm going to sidebar just a quick second, but Totalboat, you think that would work well for pressure-treated lumber?
No.
I was thinking about clearing my deck in Halcyon.
Oh, I thought you meant like epoxy river table kind of things.
You'd get a good contrast with the pressure-treated green look.
You might. I mean, it's so that Halcyon will seal it, but I don't know how long it'll last.
Yeah, I was curious about that. Just
put
because
Odie's
I'm going around. Just like my fence that you guys wanted me to do. I don't know how.
I still don't see any walnut on that fence.
You talk to. I'll tell you what.
The deck.
Talk to the guys. Talk to the guys at Odie's. They've done fences with it before, and it works.
I know, but I don't. I have deep pockets, but there's not a lot in them. So, unless Odie's wants me to do a trial, I'll gladly Odie's my whole. Oh man, my arm would hurt after that.
That's why you
good thing I got those white buffing pads.
That's right.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I just ordered 25 more of those things. I love those things.
All right. Anyway, maybe I'll reach out to Odie's and see if they want to do a trial on pressure treated lumber. The new walnut.
Well, hey, we have a giveaway coming up on the 4th of May, correct? That's going to be our first Tuesday of the month live event we do. We will show up
May the 4th.
May the 4th be with you. That's right, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be on the YouTubes. Go ahead and log on, smash the like button, subscribe, come see us. You got to be present to win. We're giving away some Orca Abrasives product and another mystery prize that I have procured myself. So
nice.
Yeah.
Is it used?
No. It's brand new in the box or in the packaging. So
sealed.
It's a Sawstop. No, I'm just playing. It's not Sawstop. But anyway, that being said, go ahead, Dare.
All right. With that, if you want to reach us on Instagram, you can reach myself over at Crafted and NJ. You can reach Nick Sansoni at MPG Creations, or you can reach Josh over at North Country Woodworking. If you want to reach all three of us at the same exact time, you can come and send us a message, slide into our DMs over at Sawdust Nation Podcast on Instagram. And if you also want to send us an email with a question for next week's episode, send it to sawdustnationpodcast@gmail.com. You could either write it in or you can send it in as a voice memo. Either one is, works for us, but a voice memo, at least then you get to be a part of the Sawdust Nation and your voice gets to be heard all across the world. With that, if you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, leave us a 5-star review. The other stars don't work. I've tried. I tried leaving us a 1-star, but it didn't work. So leave us a comment. Let us know what you think of the show. And with that, I got nothing else.
Take care of yourselves and each other until next time.
Sawdust Nation out, in.
Bye-byes.
Oh, hey, just so you know, is the Kool-Aid Man liquid in a jar or something? I'm going to get this question. We have to end.
We're so close. We were so
Almost
close.
there.
Nope. We're not done yet. We're not done until the question is
We got
asked.
the nice verbal hug from Nick, and then we get something else from AJ.
Yep. Hey, the Kool-Aid Man. Is he the jar or the liquid?
He's a jar.
I don't know.
You don't see him slosh around his eyes and stuff, do you?
Oh, yeah.
Nice. Oh,
Well,
no. Oh,
with
yeah.
With that, Sawdust Nation out. Go make some sawdust, everybody.
No. This is how you do it.
No,
Ladies and gentlemen, out there, go make some sawdust and have a good week. Sawdust Nation out.
That's right, Jim. Damn it, AJ. I'm a woodworker, not a doctor.